Okay, imagine this. Turning stuff, people just, toss out old t-shirts maybe into a multi-million-dollar business. It almost sounds made up, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
It definitely grabs your attention, makes you think, what else are we missing?
Exactly. And that's what we're digging into today with you, the learner. We're doing a deep dive on this reseller teen sport. There was this great YouTube video recently from Phoenix Resale following him around.
Yeah, I saw that.
Our mission here is to figure out how he actually did it. How did he build this whole thing just selling used clothes online?
And the numbers mentioned in that video are, well, staggering. Over $30 million in sales. eBay's top clothing seller for a decade.
Right. It's huge.
That's not just like a weekend hobby. That's a serious business, a real achievement.
Totally. Taking what most of us would call junk and turning it into, well, they called it a generational fortune.
Yeah.
And that Phoenix Resale video, it gave us this incredible look inside his world. We saw him at flea markets, hitting thrift stores, his own vintage shop, even this secret warehouse.
Sounds intriguing.
So yeah, we want to go beyond just watching. We need to pull out the key ideas, what actually made him so successful, and what can we learn from it?
Okay, let's start with maybe the foundation.
Yeah.
His mindset. It seems like this isn't just about the money for him.
No, not at all. He calls it his all-day rock and roll. He actually seems happy doing it, like genuinely enjoys the grind.
And what really struck me was this competitive thing. It's not just about profit, it sounds like. He's driven by this need to win. Winning at the flea market, winning in his business.
Yeah, he actually said something like wanting to win the flea market against thousands of other people and like have it done by 8:52 a.m.
Wow. Okay.
That kind of competitive energy seems, well, fundamental to how he operates.
It really does. And it's not just the big moments. He has this philosophy, always trying to do my best, be my best, and just perform at the highest level.
In everything.
Seems like it. Even like sweeping the floor. He said he's competitive about that. It shows his deep commitment to doing things well, down to the small stuff.
Okay, so that drive is key. But let's get practical. How does he actually find this stuff? His sourcing strategy, especially at flea markets, sounds intense, this golden hour thing.
Right, that speed. He knows he has to get in there fast.
Yeah.
Before the good stuff is gone.
He mentioned one haul, 141 items he got for $5 each.
Yeah, and you figured what, like $20 profit on average per piece? Yeah. But here's the kicker.
There was something amazing in there.
Exactly. One item he thought could sell for maybe $800 to $1,000. Finding that in a quick buy like that takes skill. A really sharp eye.
And it wasn't just one big score. Remember those hats? 14 hats for only $42?
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, a vintage sports specialties hat, the plain logo one.
Oh, yeah. Those can be worth serious money. Looking at eBay comps, you see similar ones going for like $500, sometimes over $1,000.
So he spots that instantly. That's knowledge paying off.
It's definitely not just luck, right? It's research, it's experience. And he mixes it up too, bulk buying, like that whole cart of Carhartt stuff.
Oh, yeah, for his store.
Right. Buys it for $12 a piece, aims to sell it for $25, maybe $30 pretty quickly in his brick and mortar shop. So different strategies for different inventory.
What about negotiating? I thought resellers always tried to haggle hard.
He actually said he doesn't push too hard on price. He wants the vendors to make money too, so they keep coming back, keep selling to him. It's a longer game.
Smart. Building relationships.
Totally. It's about sustainability, not just squeezing every penny out of one deal. He's investing in his suppliers, really.
And his eye for specific high-value items is amazing. Like those Nikes.
The Cortez.
Yeah.
The Forrest Gump ones.
Yeah. And those Dwayne Wade shoes. Game-used Miami Heat ones.
40 pairs. Bought for $100 each, he said. And thinks they could be worth $1,000 a piece. That's incredible knowledge of specific niches.
Definitely. Years of learning what's what.
And he's not just stuck on clothes either. He made a point about recognizing value everywhere. Video games, shoes, hats, even joking about like the Declaration of Independence. And if it's not his specialty, he's willing to pass it to the left, he called it. Let another reseller handle it, take a cut. Knows his lane, but also knows how to leverage the network.
Okay, so we know what he finds and how he approaches the deals. But where does he find this stuff? Location seems critical.
Oh, absolutely. He stressed going to the right place, even if it means driving, 40 minutes? Sometimes up to 3 hours?
He avoids certain types of markets.
Yeah, places with lots of fakes or like craft fair type stuff. He looks for vendors selling out of their cars, stuff just laid out on the ground. That's where he finds the vintage gold.
And it all comes back to research, doesn't it? Studying those sold listings, the comps on eBay, that's how he knew about that sports specialties hat value.
It's this constant cycle he described. Study, go out, study, go out. You learn, you apply it, you see what works, you go back and learn more.
That makes sense. So let's talk more about those vendor relationships. It sounds like he builds trust really fast.
Amazingly fast. He mentioned getting exclusive deals with some vendors on just his second visit. That says a lot about how he deals with people.
How does he manage that?
Well, partly by buying in volume. He scales up his purchases, which helps the vendors make more money, so they can then go out and find more stuff. It's like a positive feedback loop.
And he trusts their judgment, doesn't tell them what to find.
Exactly. He respects their expertise in sourcing. It's built on, reliability, good business practices. He said he doesn't beat anybody up on price. Fair dealing.
It sounds like these become real partnerships.
They really do. To the point where he's doing deals privately with them, even when the flea markets aren't open. That shows the strength of those connections.
Like that storage unit story in New York City.
Oh yeah, that was wild. Found a unit packed with one brand stuff, worth maybe $50,000. And he bought it all for $5 a piece, all because of his network.
Incredible. Just shows the power of those relationships.
Definitely. You never know where the next big score will come from when you have those deep connections.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. How did he scale this? Going from just him selling on eBay to, well, this huge operation. He didn't start with much money, right?
No, very little capital. He actually built his initial bankroll selling PlayStation 2 controllers.
Really? Controllers?
Yeah. Not a huge profit on each one, he said, but he sold a ton of them. High velocity, low margin to get started, classic bootstrapping, smart way to build capital.
And then his eBay business grew. I remember him saying he was listing 120 items a day himself.
Which is insane. He mentioned most people struggle with like 10 a day. 120 is just relentless.
And then he scaled that up with employees, getting to 250 listings a day.
Right. But even that had its limits.
How so?
He realized the direct-to-consumer model, shipping individual items, got really hard to manage beyond a certain point. Around 250, 300 sales a day, with like 50,000 items listed, it just became too much.
So that's when he pivoted.
Exactly. It made the huge shift to wholesale, selling in bulk to other resellers. Now he's moving, what did he say, 4,000 pieces a day?
Wow, that's a totally different business model.
It is. Less work per item, obviously, but massive volume. And he said he's actually making more money net this way. It was a crucial strategic move, recognizing the ceiling of one model and shifting.
And his goal now is even bigger.
Yeah, he wants to hit 25,000 pieces a day wholesale. The scale is just mind-boggling. Logistics, sourcing, everything has to level up.
That drive for efficiency must be intense, thinking back to him listing 120 items a day.
And his mindset around it. He said hitting those daily goals was not an option. Like failure just wasn't conceivable. That's powerful.
It explains a lot. And his setup wasn't fancy at first, right?
Not at all. Taking pictures on the ground, just getting it done with what he had. It's a good lesson. You don't need the perfect setup to start.
Yeah, focus on the core work.
Even now, his warehouse setup, it's functional but built with basic stuff. Cardboard, wood, PVC pipe, IKEA tables. It works. It's efficient.
And he even invented tools, like that reseller ruler.
Yeah. Because he needed something specific that didn't exist. That's ingenuity born from necessity, problem solving on the fly.
And getting the whole listing process, photos, description down to under a minute per item.
That kind of speed. It only comes from doing it thousands and thousands of times, refining every single step, eliminating wasted motion.
Let's circle back to some of those amazing finds. That Hermes scarf.
Yeah.
Bought for $5.
And potentially worth $800 to $1,000, maybe more. You see comps for similar ones, sometimes hitting close to $2,800. It shows what's hiding out there.
And he knows the value. He's confident in pricing it.
That confidence comes from, again, years of research, seeing what things actually sell for. It's deep market knowledge.
And it's not just the super high-end stuff. He mentioned brands like True Religion, Vineyard Vines, Tommy Bahama.
Right, recognizing value across different tiers. He might buy hundreds of pieces of those brands in one go, knowing there's good profit potential. He's tuned into current trends.
Okay, what about thrift stores? We talked flea markets, but thrifting was big for him too, right?
Oh, yeah. He said there was a time he was hitting 55 thrift stores a week.
55 a week. That's commitment.
Unbelievable dedication. That's how you learn fast, seeing that much inventory constantly.
He warned about a common mistake, though.
Yeah, resellers picking up too much low-dollar stuff that's hard to move, the desk pile problem again. but also just tying up time and money in things that won't sell well.
So prioritize quality over quantity when sourcing.
And prioritize locations. Go where the better inventory is, even if it means more driving. He called it the choice between a hard sourcing life versus a hard selling life. He chose the hard sourcing.
Makes sense. Find better stuff, easier sales.
Exactly. And I liked his view on goodwill, too. Seeing them as a partner, understanding their mission. Not just a place to plunder, you know.
Yeah, a more holistic view.
It shows a certain maturity in his approach. His peak thrifting days, though, sound exhausting. Hours of driving, long days just sourcing.
Which brings us to sacrifices. You can't work like that without giving things up. What did he say he sacrificed most?
Sleep. Especially early on. That seemed to be the biggest trade-off for him to build the business to that level.
Did he mention other things? Social life? Hobbies?
The video didn't dive deep into that, but yeah, you have to assume that time dedicated to the business came from somewhere. Personal time often takes a hit for entrepreneurs starting out.
But he was adamant about family time, wasn't he? Never missing his son's events.
Yeah, he drew a line there, which is important, right? Defining those non-negotiables, even when you're incredibly busy, consciously making space for what matters most personally.
His view on work-life balance was pretty blunt.
It was. The first part of work-life balance is work. His point seemed to be about efficiency. If you're wasting time or being slow, that's what kills your balance, not necessarily the work itself.
Get your work done effectively and you create more time for life.
That seems to be his philosophy. He seemed a bit critical of people who maybe take forever on tasks and then complain about having no time.
He also called out some classic mistakes new resellers make. We mentioned the death pile, buying stuff but never listing it.
A huge one. It just paralyzes the business. Cash is tied up, space is taken up, no revenue comes in.
Yeah.
You have to list what you buy.
And the other big one.
Buying based on what you like, not what the market actually wants. Forgetting that you're buying to sell, not for your own collection. Market demand is key.
Definitely. You got to check the comps, know what's selling.
Absolutely essential. Otherwise, you're just guessing.
But he also made a really encouraging point about financial goals. Making $100,000 a year profit.
Yeah, he broke it down. Selling just 14 items a day, making $20 profit on each, that gets you there.
Suddenly it sounds much more doable.
Right.
Not easy, but achievable with consistency.
Exactly. It demystifies the big number. Consistent effort on profitable items adds up, and especially as you get more efficient over time.
He even said now, with his experience, he could probably hit that $100K mark with way less work.
That's the payoff, isn't it? All those years of learning, refining processes. It means you can achieve the same or more with less brute force. The experience compounds.
Let's talk about his brick-and-mortar store for a minute. What's the strategy there?
It seems like a way to sell things that might sit longer online, or things that appeal more to local buyers, a different outlet. He aims for about $1,000 a day in sales there.
So another channel, diversification.
Right. And interestingly, he mostly stocks it from his own massive inventory that he sourced cheaply elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really buy from people walking in off the street.
Because his cost basis is already so low from his main sourcing.
Exactly. It keeps his margins healthy across the board. It's all integrated.
He told that story about the Grateful Dead shirts, too.
Oh, man, that was amazing. 1,000 dead stock shirts, bought for $50 each.
And sold them for an average of $250.
Yeah, pulling in like $200,000 profit on that one deal shows the power of niche knowledge and having the capital and connections to jump on a huge opportunity like that.
And finding valuable vintage jackets in rag houses, places most people wouldn't think to look.
It just reinforces that idea. Keep exploring different sourcing avenues. Value can be anywhere if you know what to look for.
It does sound like being a top eBay seller, especially back then, was incredibly demanding, though.
Oh, for sure. The daily grind, listing constantly, shipping every day. The eBay algorithm rewards that consistency, so you have to keep feeding the beast.
It sounds all-consuming.
It really can be, especially at that volume. Sourcing, photographing, listing, packing, shipping. It's a huge time commitment.
And he accepted the lack of sleep as part of the deal, right?
Yeah, particularly in those building years. He saw it as a necessary trade-off to reach the level he wanted. It highlights the kind of dedication involved. Vacations were probably tough early on, too.
But now, with 15-plus years in the game, that experience is a massive advantage.
Huge. That deep knowledge base means he finds winners consistently. Less guesswork, more certainty. Decisions are faster, more intuitive.
And the impact of those decisions gets bigger as the business scales, right?
Absolutely. A good decision or a bad one has much larger consequences when you're dealing with thousands of items daily versus dozens. Experience helps make more good ones.
So what's the end game for him? He called it his 50-year vacation.
Yeah, sounds like he's shifting gears, moving away from the day-to-day grind, focusing more on the wholesale side, investments, letting the business and his money work for him.
More passive income, less direct labor.
That seems to be the goal. He mentioned New Year's resolutions about like cutting out negativity and making his capital work harder, building a sustainable engine for the long haul.
So looking back at everything, what are the absolute core traits you see?
Well, definitely that single-minded focus.
Hmm.
Just an incredible ability to zero in on the core business sourcing, listing, selling efficiently, and maybe even more powerful, that love of winning.
The competitive drive.
Yeah. It feels like that's almost more important to him than the money itself sometimes. That desire to be the best, to beat the competition, to solve the puzzle of the market, that seems to fuel everything.
So, the learner, think about that journey. It's quite something. We've seen the power of having the right mindset, smart sourcing, why relationships matter, how to adapt and scale, the need for efficiency, constant learning, and that underlying drive to just win.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see how much value can be unlocked from things others discard. And that pivot from selling one item at a time to moving thousands wholesale, that's a masterclass in scaling.
So here's something to chew on. How could you take those principles, that intense focus, that competitive spirit teen sport has, and apply them to whatever you're learning or doing professionally? It doesn't have to be about t-shirts, right?
Yeah.
What does winning mean in your world, and how could that kind of drive help you get there?
All right, that's a wrap for this episode of Web Wealth Builder. If you found this valuable, make sure to follow us on Spotify and YouTube so you never miss an update. New episodes packed with insights to help you grow your online income. Hit that subscribe button and stay ahead. Until the next time, why not try the tips from today in reality?